Now, Virtual Know Your City is the new campaign with the aim to keep Durban as the tourist destination alive. Now, this comes as the world is faced with the COVID-19 pandemic, which has left the tourism sector the most economically hardest hit. This will go live on the online platforms tomorrow. And to tell us more about this, we joined via Skype by Phillip Sithole, the Deputy City Manager for Economic Development. Mr. Sithole, very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to you and good morning to viewers.
First of all, talk to us about the state of readiness for the launch of this campaign.
Well, we are very much ready. When the pandemic was declared a state of disaster, we then started to develop a campaign around our economic recovery plan, which talks about a clean and a fresher city. And this particular campaign, the Know Your City, it's a campaign that is going to showcase some of the hidden gems of Durban, because we need to come up with new experiences that will attract people back to Durban, but also come back as tourists and visitors and spend their money in this city.
Well, tourism is one economic sector that has been hit hard by the lockdown. So coming up with such a campaign, Mr. Sithole, how do you think this is going to help keep alive tourism since this campaign will be accessed online?
Well, many people are already online, and we have seen music shows being conducted online. But the aim of the campaign, it's a teaser to everybody to say when gates are open, when people are allowed to travel, they must have Durban as the number one place to visit. So we want to showcase our aquatic experiences, want to showcase places that talks about the history, culture, and heritage of the city. This campaign will be showcasing our museums, but we'll be working with tourists as well as ambassadors of Durban, which includes artists, some of our top artists in the city, who will be telling a story about each of the products and experiences that will be showcased virtually. So the aim here is to do two things. One is to make sure that people, they still remember Durban, but they remember Durban through our artists. This includes both, it could be DJs or people who are doing sculptures at the beachfront and so on and so forth.
Now, in terms of showcasing aquatic experiences, in terms of museums, in terms of the flora and fauna, and just about anything that Durban can offer, do you think that online platforms are sufficient enough to give us a true experience that Durban has to offer?
Well, yes. In fact, what we'll be doing is to showcase other experiences, as I had mentioned before, that people have not seen. I mean, many people in Gauteng, in Cape Town, in other parts of South Africa, when they come to Durban, they have never been to places like Bluff, where they can see some of the best sceneries of Durban when it comes to nature, when it comes to some of the beaches that we have in the city of Durban. They've never been to some of the hills of our rural areas. And they've never been to some of the townships that carries a lot of history in terms of the struggle before democracy and how people live in the townships. There are also certain parts of the inner city that we have not talked about. The history about the Warwick Avenue and how it evolved over years during apartheid up until now. It was a transport hub for Africans during apartheid. But before that time, African people used to own businesses in that particular spot of the city. So it is important for us to remind people where we come from and where we are with such places. But that will be done virtually. That creates excitement, and that makes people want to come together.
Yeah, I guess the gist of my question then is, I mean, going online, especially to experience these tourist attractions, is not the same as one physically travels to that place. So what's your view on that?
Well, it's not the same, but the aim is that it becomes a talkability. So if you're online, it makes you to think about Durban. It makes you to say, I like what I'm seeing, and I like the education that I'm getting out of this. I wish one day I would get an opportunity to go and experience physically and experience this particular experience or this particular establishment.
Okay.
So it does help.
And I see that some of the artists such as Zakes Bantwini, who are from KZN, will be part of the campaign. So what exactly will they be doing?
Well, artists like Zakes Bantwini, what they will be doing, if I can give an example, they can go to a botanical garden of Durban and talk about the history of this garden, how it was established and how it evolved over time, and some of the best events that were once hosted by this particular garden. Or they can talk about Moses Mabhida Stadium, why it is called Moses Mabhida Stadium, and who was Moses Mabhida, what has been some of the best experiences that have been hosted at the stadium. They can go to Inanda, they go to Ohlange, where Nelson Mandela voted in 1994, and talk about the experience of the day in 1994, how Madiba arrived, how he voted, what were his words when he voted in the place, and why people should come to such a place when they visit Durban. Others, they can go and do surfing, those who are able to do surfing, and tell an experience about our beautiful city and the fact that we're the warmest place to be. So it's all about an artist telling a story. Remember that artists have got huge followers. So they would be promoting these things upfront so that people would know that on a particular day, Zakes Bantwini or whichever artist will be taking us through a tour in terms of history, culture, and heritage of the city.
All right, Phillip Sithole, thank you so much for chatting to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
That was Phillip Sithole talking to us about the virtual Durban excursions with the aim of talking to us about Durban as a tourist destination, as it how to keep it alive during this difficult time as we are faced with the COVID-19 pandemic.